Hey guys, as you can see, I'm in a different location today. At my girlfriend's cabin here, and it's Thanksgiving morning. I was going through a post on my website, and it got me thinking, why aren't more musicians invested in their own continued growth and learning? So I just kind of decided to give 3 barriers that musicians give to continue learning music by ear. And the first one is the length of time. And I've always wondered about this one, because this is the musician that says, I've been playing for 20 years. Why invest more, right? But here's the thing. Like, playing for 20 years doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Because studies already have said that, you've heard of that 10,000 hour rule, that if you practice for 10,000 hours, you can become a skill at anything. But that only matters if it's deep practice, right? So most musicians haven't had 10,000 hours of deep practice. They've just been playing, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people feel like, I've been playing this long, but I'm not getting any better. Because you don't know how to practice. You haven't spent the time in deep practice. And we've all heard we all marvel at these kids who, they sound great. Maybe they only played for 5 years. And then somebody who's played, people don't want to say how long they've been playing if they don't sound good, right? And they've been playing for 20 years. So we all have this relationship, this skewed relationship with time. And it's unfortunate because we're asking the wrong questions, with regard to time. Because a classical musician could play for 20 years, right? And they could be really good, and they could be a good classical musician. They're playing on stage and performing, but that doesn't mean that they spent 20 years as an ear musician, listening to chords, learning how to harmonize on their own. So that question is a flawed question. But again, it's a barrier because length of time doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? If that time hasn't been spent in deep practice that's tied to the output that you want on the piano. So that's the first thing. The other barrier people give is theory. I've had lots of theory training, so why would I need to go to some YouTube, teacher? Well, let me just say this. There's a lot of people with formal training, right, and formal knowledge. But what does that mean, right? It's not like in music, it's not like we have a certification system, that says you have the skills, to play as an ear musician. Every training is different. And even in theory training, you wouldn't teach an 8-year-old you wouldn't expect an 8-year-old to build a house for you because you've showed him the theory of how to build a house, right? I mean, you can teach. Look, he's I'm sorry, he wants to get in the shot. All right, but what was I saying? Now, you can teach an 8-year-old, for instance, if you're someone that is, relying on theory, that doesn't necessarily make you a good musician, right? It's you have to work the things out in your actual playing. So you got to remember that too. So this third one, this could be the biggest one. These are people who are already getting paid to play, because you could be deceiving yourself. You could be saying, because a church is already paying me, why develop myself any further, right? And so here's what I would say to that. Number one, and this is no dig at churches, but churches, they're not really good at knowing the capability of a musician, right? They have a sound that they want fulfilled, and they're hiring a musician to get that sound for them. It has nothing to do with you and your development as a musician. And so you need to understand that as a musician, you can be replaced at any time, right? And so you owe it to yourself to develop yourself to your highest potential. And I think don't let getting a check fool you into not developing yourself and not growing. Okay, instead of talking about musicians and arguing online about whether it's right to transpose or not, learn to play in all your keys. Right. What a novel idea, right? Instead of complaining about your pay and how much you are getting and or aren't getting, why don't you develop yourself to your highest potential so you can ask for the most money and get paid and be competitive enough, right, to stand out in this competitive market? Instead of comparing yourself to other musicians and, look at this musician and how well he plays, and always comparing yourself to other musicians. Why not surround yourself with people who are better than you and use that as leverage? Use that to gain understanding and to gain technique. You know what I'm saying? Surround yourself with great musicians. Well, I think the food may be ready, so I'm going to go ahead and walk over to the house I'm eating at. But yeah, man, thankful for you guys on YouTube who resonate with the message I provide. because it's simple, man. It's not complicated. It's simple. And for those of you who have taken that extra step to be on my website, I'm really thankful for you guys too. You guys, I actually learn more from you guys than you guys think you learn from me. And but what a novel idea, man, that you can get really skilled by just knowing what to practice and how to practice. And those two things, that's all you need. I'll see y'all later.